Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's lesson or today's episode. So, in this episode, we are focused on how to configure a Catalyst 8000V. This is a cloud hosted switch by Cisco's DevNet. We are going to just focus on changing the host name using text file and then using the API. So, without wasting much time, I have currently logged into the switch. If you want to see how I configure these switches to for SSH access, you can check my previous videos. So, show version shows that we are connected to the Catalyst 8000V and the device has been up for 6 hours. So without wasting much time, let me go to my Python script, which is going to configure the device using the text file. So as you can see, it's a basic Python script, NetMiko script. We have the parameters for connecting to the device. We initiate the connection over here. We print that we are going to enable mode, and then we run the commands from the text file. Now, this is the text file, and then the text file is going to use the normal configuration conversion. So we type host name in the configuration mode, and then followed by the name tag we want to give to the device. So I'm going to run the script. So as you can see, we have connected to the device. The script is being executed, and as you can see now, the host name has changed. Now, if we are to go back to our terminal and press on enter, the host name should change. And as you can see, the host name has changed. So this really makes sense. I mean, configuring devices from text file. So now let's see what Postman has to offer. So I'll go to Postman, and this is my Postman. And first of all, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get the host name from the device using the API. Now, I will not just only get the API out the host name from the device. I'm passing some values to store the value of the host name returned from the device. So this is just a very simple API test. So basically, what you are doing is that you want to get a response 200 OK from the server, which happens to be the switch. So from here, the response is 200 OK. And now, once we get a response, that means our test is successful. And what we want to do next is that we want to pass this response body into a variable. Then we also tend to pass an assertion onto that particular response body. Why do we need an assertion? Because we want to save the value of the host name, which is the Catalyst 8000V, into a variable. And from the next, I'll show you what we can do with this. So basically, now we should get something like let me go Catalyst. So how we configured. Yes, so this is the catalyst, the name for the device as we changed using the script. So now when you go back to my collection for the switch, you realize that the host name has been saved as a variable, just as it was done here through the script. Now it's time to change the host name using the API. So when we go to the changing of the host name, and let me change this to put. So basically, we have a response body, and the response body is going to contain the value that we want to configure the new host name. And not just only that, what I'm doing is that when you go to the test, I have a test over here. So basically, what the test is trying to say is that, see, so we want to update the device, okay? But then we want to pass a test that for every host name that we want to configure, the host name that we want to pass, you have to check from the collection and make sure that what is saved in the collection is not the same value that we are passing. If it's the same value, the test will fail, telling us that the value that the host name that we want to configure to the device has already been configured already. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to change it. Okay, so now we have Catalyst 8000V. I'm going to send a request, and there was no response, which tells us that the response went through. Now we can go to test results, and as you can see, I passed all the tests. So let's break down the test. So when you go to the test, okay, so now the first test is that the value of the host name in the response is not equal to the value sent in the request body. So so basically, this is the request body, and it's telling us that the value in the response. What is the response? So now let's go back and check for the host name. So this is the response that this particular request checked. So here you realize that we passed the request body, this is the request body, into a raw string. And then we also logged the request body. So you can check from the console. So the request body is over here. This is what we are sending. We were sending to the server, which is the switch. And now we come down. So now this is the collection. So from the collection, this is the collection over here. So we are getting this value from the collection. So we have the value over here. And now we do comparison that for the request host name, the request that was sent, it should not be equal to the value that we have over here, which is the Catalyst 8000V. Once we have it, the test should fail. So now we configured this host name for the device, and now we want to configure the same host name again. So now let's run the script. Let's run the API request and see our response. And as you can see, the test passed. So obviously somebody has also changed the host name. We can check from here. It's the same thing. So I think I didn't get something right with the response. So let me see. Okay, so we changed the host name. Okay, so let's see what we have. Okay, so I think what I'm doing wrong is that I should have changed something here. So let me change the value of this to just host name. And let's try again. So let's see if somebody else has changed the host name. It's still the same. So now let's try again. And as you can see now, the test is working now. So the value of the host name in the response is not equal to the value sent in the request body, because from the request body here, we were sending host name as this, and this host name is the same host name we get over here when we run the get host name. So these are some of the things that you can do with Postman. You pass assertions, you actually dive deep into the response body compared to the text file we had over here. So you can see clearly there's an abstraction from Netmiko in terms of connecting to the device, but these responses we can't really pass it to anything meaningful unless maybe probably we export the output to a text file or something. But directly from Netmiko, we can clearly see that as and when we are passing the request, we can take valuable information from the response body. So thank you for watching this video. And in my next video, we'll look at how to do more configuration using text file and also using the API. Thank you.